Hello and welcome to League of Loggers. This is week 3, season 3, episode 4. Your hosts this evening are Kurtis James.
What's up?
We have Heather, aka Stormy, and myself. I am Chase Viking Redbeard. That being said, we've got matches to talk about.
We got lots of matches, and we have some very interesting matches this week. And I think, the place to start is always just the most surprising, the most important, some might say. The team that just, what's the team that comes right off the top of your head, Chase? Indeed. Golden Guardians coming into this week 0-4. They had a couple close calls, but it was just like, oh, it's the same old Golden Guardians. And they pull off not one win, but two. Taking down TSM in the process on day 2. Like, day 1 probably not quite as surprising with OpTic, but TSM felt a little more big of an upset. I mean, Chase, these are your boys. I'm gonna let you wax poetic about them.
So, game 1 started, I was like, okay, we're off to a solid start. Things are going okay.
Yeah.
They're playing slow and steady, and things just kind of quietly went in their favor the entire game. Froggen looked really good. I don't know. I don't think there was a whole lot to say about the day 1 match against OpTic. I think that more of the discussion should lean into the TSM game, where TSM kind of...
Good thing you said that. I almost pulled up the wrong highlight then. So, no, go ahead, keep talking.
TSM quietly shit themselves really hard. I have no idea what they did. TSM, they started the game pretty strong. At least they looked like they were pretty strong. And then halfway through the match, things just went dramatically the other way. Golden Guardians were everywhere they needed to be. They were doing everything that they should be doing. They looked like competent players. It is the first time in 3 weeks that they're really shining. I hope that their mishaps over the last 2 weeks, they've been able to get what they're practicing to work on the Rift. So I don't know. I don't have a whole lot to dive into for that match, but it was good. I liked it.
It was good.
Yeah.
I mean, that just says everything, doesn't it?
Hey, you know what? I got to wear my hat with pride this week. I didn't have to wear it in shame, and just because I'm not going to give up on them.
It's been a while since you wore a team hat in pride. I mean, you had the Echo Fox one late last season, and now this one. You really were just kind of slumming it for a while with your team choices.
You know what? Fox should have been way better last year than they ended up being. And
they were good right up until they shuffled their roster for no good reason.
Yeah.
I mean, finances, I assume.
And then Golden Guardians, they were pretty not great last year, but they were always the underdog. I always wanted to root for them. So now I'm just glad that it's paying off a little bit. I don't have to feel ashamed wearing this hat in public. Because I'm sure all the people know exactly what it is.
All of the people that matter do.
Yeah. I guess that's true.
Heather, did you have thoughts on Golden Guardians?
Well, I think OpTic kind of threw the match against them. Dokla had a bad TP and to Golden Guardians. They did well and got an Infernal.
How?
Then Dokla did it again. He got caught, and then another Infernal went to Golden Guardians. Froggen was very good in that match. His Kurtis was soloing people.
Oh, yeah, the Kurtis was just disgusting.
I'll probably talk about
that. That was the one where Golden Guardians did a great Baron. Ka had to go around the entire thing. They secured it. They killed off a couple people.
Oh, was that the ring around the room?
I
forgot which game that was in, but yeah, that was the Golden Guardians game.
But I also think OpTic having their new team, or mostly their new team, the 3 new people, I don't know, they just didn't seem like they were very cohesive. They didn't play as well as the 5 had been playing, I guess, before they put in the new people, the new roster, I guess, the new, what is it?
Well, everyone was technically new, but they were playing the Academy roster.
This was definitely the intended roster because Arrow had visa issues, so we had been seeing Asta, and then of course Gate playing with him instead of Arrow and Big, and then also week 1, the different top laner, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, played, but Dokla did play week 2 as well as this week. And then Meteos finally coming back in as well.
I couldn't find any information that was saying that they were having visa issues and weren't in the thing. I had just found something saying that
it was Arrow had visa issues. They announced that about a week before the season started.
So maybe they didn't get enough practice with them or something?
Exactly.
I don't know what it is, but they did not seem like they were doing well as a team, and that showed in their second game too, in my opinion. But for the Golden Guardians' second game against TSM, I think TSM pretty much threw at the end there. They had a double TP into an Elder Dragon, and right when they were pushing into the base, they could have had 2 inhibitors and given up the Elder Dragon, and they probably could have just defended while the big minions pushed into Golden Guardian's base. But they went for the double TP and played it very badly, and I think that's what cost them the entire game. I think they won right after that.
Yeah, for me, it was surprising to see Froggen finally play like old Froggen. I mean, I know you guys haven't been watching for nearly as long. I've been watching since Season 3. He's been around since, Season 2.
Yeah.
He's definitely been around since Season 3, and he's always been a farm-heavy mid laner. He loves playing Anivia and Kurtis. Actually, somebody linked in Reddit. Over 7 seasons now, he's got something like 17 wins on Kurtis and 3 losses in professional play, and that's at all things, just EULCS all the way through to, Worlds games. The guy's just disgusting. There's items on there that have been out of the game for, 4 seasons in, his builds. I was like, oh shit, I remember that. Will of the Ancients, Deathfire, Grasp, all sorts of stuff, but yeah, these, farm-heavy champions are his bread and butter. I mean, you could see it in the play. He was constantly ahead of Bjergsen even, who's been amazing on that Lissandra. He played really good on that. But, yeah, he was constantly up, 20, 30 CS on it. And it's just because he's really good at Kurtis, and he's just going to go around the map. Going to get his items and then do massive damage with his ult eventually.
Yes, I like that.
Well, the Dark Harvest combination on the Kurtis right now is just a little bit too overpowered. That's what Alan was saying in the chat a little bit. He goes off, he pops off, and he's able to pick up the Dark Harvest stacks off of his ult because unless you've got a stopwatch or a Zhonya's, you can't do anything, or a Guardian Angel.
But that's always Kurtis.
Well, you still get the stacks off Guardian Angel, right?
Yeah, you would still get, if it does the damage, you still get it. So you need a Zhonya's or a Spell Shield or Stopwatch. Yeah. You have to do something that makes you not take the damage. So, even a Lissandra self-ult would do it. So, Bjergsen was able to avoid them. I mean, you saw him avoid 1 or 2. But yeah, there's just not a whole lot you can do. Lissandra was able to do something there, and Sivir, obviously, with her Spell Shield. But, beyond, even the Urgot's just, bam, taking 800 to 1200 damage because he didn't have MR. He had a null magic mantle is all I think. And it's just okay, Broken Blade, you're gonna die.
When they were in the base, I think on the last push, and Kurtis ulted, and 3 people died.
Oh yeah, it was real.
I think 2 people straight out died, and then they killed a 3rd. But that was just, it was fun to watch. I definitely like Kurtis more as a mid than as a jungler.
Yeah, Rush can just leave him out of the jungle. Yeah. We'll give him to Froggen in the mid lane.
I mean, they're not even on the same team, but
it makes me wonder if we're gonna see that banned against Golden Guardians going forward, because the last time we saw Froggen back on Echo Fox a while ago, he popped out the Anivia, which is probably his biggest signature pick, and he was just crushing every single time. So people are just screw it, we will spend 1 ban every time against Froggen on the Anivia. Are they gonna have to do the same thing with Kurtis, or do you think either nerfs will come in that will kind of pull his power down a bit, or do you think he can be countered by teams just playing around it properly?
Probably a little bit more of the latter there. I think that since he hasn't really been around for a little while, at least not competitively, and not doing this well, that it's going to take people a little bit to learn how to play around him again. I think that once they do, I bet they'll figure out a counter for him, but the Dark Harvest stacks, I mean, those are really hard to miss when you have just a global ult that hits everyone for a huge chunk of damage.
Yeah, you just have to have 1 of the 5 people on the enemy team be below half health and you get a stack.
Basically, yeah.
That's great.
And if you don't pick up one of those kills yourself, there's a pretty good chance you're setting up one of your teammates to clean up something.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Froggen's really good at it. He usually uses it as the fight's over. There was one time, actually, I think it was in the OpTic game, that he could have, it was OpTic because he could have gotten Meteos, who just barely made it out on the Kha'Zix spread jump over the wall, and I thought he was going to use it, and he just didn't. I was like, oh, apparently he's showing pity on them. I assumed he was holding on to it because they wanted to do objectives and then have it if another fight broke out, but it was just he could have fucking killed him so easily. But, I mean, hats off to Golden Guardians.
Yeah. Great games. They were fun to watch.
Yeah, They made it up to 2 now, and 3 weeks in, that puts them exactly on track for our prediction of 6 wins on the season for Golden Guardians. If they just get 2 every 3 weeks.
Well,
that'd be great.
Currently Golden Guardians are tied with TSM and Clutch Gaming.
And...
Oh, shit.
OpTic.
Oh,
yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're not in last.
They're not last.
They're not even close to in last. They're tied for 7th.
Yeah.
Although that's also last.
No, I'm really excited with how they played this week. I'm hoping that them having 3 weeks now and then the 2 wins under their belt now, that they'll start to play a little bit better. At least that's my hope. If we can go 50% for the rest of this split, I'll be pretty excited, because that means we'll end with more wins than I thought.
Yeah, I think the way they played this week, granted it's very narrow because we just saw Froggen twice on Kurtis, but I think it's more what we needed to see from them. Especially Hanser on Scion. I'm pretty sure it was just last week where I said, I don't know why they're giving him, like, Rise and shit. I know week 1 he played Rise, but then I think week 2 he played Victory. I'm just like, why are they fucking giving him this stuff? Put him on a tank. Put him on Scion. Huh. Weird. Played Scion twice this week. Went pretty well for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Well, Scion in general is kind of overpowered right now.
Yeah, we will actually... Let's segue into that one right now, actually.
Real quick, though. Ole
Yes.
played a lot better, in my opinion. He saved definitely a few times, and I think just had better ults on his champions this week.
No, I agree fully. He played Braum on the first day, and it was alright. His Tom Kench on day 2, fantastic, though. I think that's always a champion he's been pretty good at. I mean, his Braum as well, but the Kench shone through for him.
Well, anyways, we'll go on.
I want to add one more thing.
Yeah.
So OpTic was basically like a brand new roster this week. Like, this is basically OpTic's
If you want to talk about
week
their
1.
roster, I can segue into that point instead of the champion point.
I was going
Got
to...
all the stuff over here for you.
I was just going to say that it seems like this is week 1 for OpTic. Things looked like a week 1 match instead of a week 3 match.
Okay, so let's talk about the OpTic roster then right now. No, let's go ahead. Rather than you making half of a point and us coming back to it way later.
Fine.
So OpTic this week finally played their intended roster for the first week. And as of note, Meteos made his return to the LCS first game since last split, week 3, game 2, against OpTic. But yeah, so it had been almost a full split since he played. So your feelings on it is that it looked like a week 1 out of them.
Exactly, yeah. It looked like this was the first, like, week 1 of the split. That's how they played. That's how they looked as a team cohesively. They look like they're 2 weeks behind everyone else at this point. But my point on that is that them looking so uncertain of their of their team composition gave Golden Guardians like the ability to get that first win. And I think that the win on day 1 helped them have like the confidence, like the morale to win game 2 on day 2.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. Like on day 1 against Golden Guardians, they didn't look terrible. Like day 2 against Team Liquid.
TSM.
No, OpTic.
Oh, OpTic. Sorry.
OpTic day 2 against Team Liquid. Like they looked like a team going up against Team Liquid who didn't have it all together. Like, they looked kind of close early, they had a little bit of a lead early, and they got to the mid-game, and Liquid was like, hey, do you guys know how to team fight? Oh, you don't? Too bad. Exactly. And they just rolled over them in the late game. There was lots of attempts for things, and OpTic would get, like, a bit here and there, but once the game hit, like, 20 minutes or so, it was just Team Liquid from there on out. And I think, it was just... It was a shit show. Especially on top of the fact that they didn't ban Cassiopeia.
Yeah.
Like, they got Scion for themselves, but they didn't ban Cassiopeia, which now is the... Twice has Cassiopeia been allowed to play. Once, week 1, Cloud9 let Liquid play it. And now in week 3, OpTic let Liquid play it. It's just like, okay, do you guys not think Jensen's good at it? Because I think he's good at it.
He surprised me. I'm the one who had doubts about Cassiopeia. Just because I didn't see her doing well early game. I get like not well enough to be the best pick, I guess.
Right. Well,
and
she's
then
not lane dominant the way she
showing
used
her
to.
damage in team fights, and I was like, all right, maybe that's a little bit powerful, and
Right.
you gotta be backing up here. I will say that Double Lift put out a lot of damage too, though. So,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
so
I mean,
it
Double
was them
Lift
combined.
on the Sivir, like, they were both
Yeah.
playing champions who can just melt an
Yes.
entire team in Sivir and
So.
Cassiopeia. And, like, Cassiopeia's definitely, and she's very different in Sivir, in that Sivir is actually pretty lane dominant immediately. She's good at pushing the lane, and then she has that lull, and then she has that 6-item like win, what do you call it? Win condition, where like okay, if she can get all of that AD and crit, like she just will kill everyone. Cassiopeia, like she used to be super lane dominant, and they toned it back because they're like, well, if she's so dumb late as a mage, she shouldn't like own the lane. And so yeah, she got a bit of a slow start, especially who was Crown on?
Syndra.
Yeah, okay, Syndra
So
like
he was doing better in
right,
the
and Syndra has like a really good level 3,
Yeah.
and like so he was, and it's Crown. Like Crown's obviously very good, but yeah, once we got to 20 minutes or so, it was gross. I felt like, and I was a little surprised that they did that well with Smithy on a Kha'Zix, because usually he's the Sejuani show, like he'd play something tanky with stuns or displacements and stuff, and for him to go on with an assassin jungler was a different look from them.
Yeah. What are you looking up over there?
Well, so every Monday, like right around this time, Riot would publish.
They haven't done one at all this year.
Yeah, they used to publish stats that had like had all like who won, who lost.
Yeah, they would do an infographic.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
that would be nice.
And
number of
they haven't done it
dragons
this
like
split.
throughout
They stopped
everything.
it.
That's
like
what I was writing
bloodiest
down
game,
before. I was writing down like who got all the
like bloodiest
dragons.
game, longest game, shortest game, like
Ooh, who
popular
had the
pick bands, like top percentage pick bands, top percentage wins,
Yep.
like type thing. And I was trying to find if they had a graphic
I
I
on
was
that.
looking earlier today. They haven't released one for week 1 or 2. They're apparently not doing them.
That's
All right,
Yeah.
Riot. If anyone has connections to Riot, go yell at them. We like those infographics.
We love Riot's stat department. They're amazing.
And they always had cool little bits of information
Yeah, they always
at
had
the
like
bottom.
like 3 fun facts. It was
Yeah?
great. Yeah, it would just
Like that.
so like
So-
one of them this week would have definitely been like it was Meteos' first game in since this week, and it was
Well,
against
that's what
OpTic.
got me thinking about the fun fact
Because I gave a
thing.
fun fact.
Yeah. So
I've got to come up with them since Riot Stats aren't feeding them to us anymore.
Well,
Even
I
though
got
they
longest
kind of
game,
did, because
so.
it was a thing they showed during the match. But yeah, so like OpTic, I don't know, they looked okay. Honestly, for me, their biggest downfall was Dokla this week.
Yeah.
Dokla looked,
shaky.
not
You can't
great.
cancel TPs anymore. I think that's the. You know what? Doesn't
But
matter.
you have to decide, like, is it worth it
Yeah.
now? It's like
Right.
because if you commit to it and your team runs away from you, like
Or
you're
they
basically
die.
you're gonna get caught out and
Yeah.
die. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
and in pro play, like, it's so easy. I mean, even at my level of play, which is not that high, I've abused the fact that I can cancel it by, like, starting a TP on something and then, like, forcing those people to either come to it and my
Yeah.
team collapses on them and I never show up, or they run away from it and my team's collapsing from where they run away to. Like, I've done that. It's just like, oh, and I only lost a portion of the cooldown. Like, even if you make it, you lose the whole cooldown, the ability to not show the fuck up is huge.
Yes.
Like, I think it puts a different dynamic on it now that, like, you just have to fully commit. It's
Yeah.
like,
Which
you may
sucks.
straight
Yeah.
Dokla the fuck out of it.
We're gonna call it the Dokla now.
Well, I'm
Oh,
pretty sure
it
at one
should.
point
It
I
was
saw that
bad.
Dokla was like 2-5 in one of those games. Like he was like hard feeding. Maybe
It had to have been the first one because he
Or maybe-
did so bad in that.
It's
game,
possible.
Optic
Here
versus-
we got the Dokla for the viewers here. He just TPs in.
They're just all
It
there.
gets- Well, and like he Zonia's the knockup from
Yeah.
the Scion, but the Braum ult hits him. Oh, and that's where Kha'Zix like jumps over the wall and gets away, and could have easily been Kurtis ulted. Like, yeah, it was just a comedy of errors there.
But the same with the last game, the TSM versus Golden Guardians. They're double TP in that they can't cancel, forced them into that fight, which
Yeah.
gave the game up. They had 2 inhibs sitting open.
Well, and it was this week,
It was
wasn't it, that
ridiculous.
Afromu like TP'd back into lane
Yes.
after a gank and immediately got re-killed?
Yes, he did.
It's just like, the
He
fuck
died.
are you doing? Like, the Xin Zhao had ganked, they got the kill, Xin Zhao was just in the river, like, he got Scuttle, was just, like, getting the honey fruit, and the TP starts coming in, and he's like,
Well, I'm gonna go right back to that.
okay,
lane, yeah.
he came in, yeah. And it's like, yeah, I love the spectator people, like, doing, observers, there we go. The observers, like, zoomed in on him as he's walking out of base, like, the second time, like, walk of shame, like, you don't have your summoner TP, which, he had from, the spellbook or whatever. And like, you're just fucked. You're just walking there after you gave up 2 kills in a row. You fed the Shinshao and the AD carry. Way to go, Chief.
Well,
oh, man.
I think Afro is doing progressively worse this year than he did last year. Like, 100 Thieves has been probably the worst team, in my opinion, over the course of the last, like, split. Like, I mean...
Oh, going back to last split. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, yeah, if you including when they made the decision to, like, play Rikara and shit, well, yeah. Because nobody else said, you know what we should do? Well, actually, no. One other team did. You used to be a fan of theirs. You know what we should do? Start somebody who's never played in an LCS game. At least, what was his name even?
Was it Phoenix?
No, Phoenix is the mid laner and is again. Oh, shit. What is his name?
Which lane?
The AD carry.
Oh.
For Fox at the end of the season.
Uh...
Can't even remember him. He's
Yeah,
not worth remembering. At least he had played professionally in like
Back in
Australia and
Canada,
had been a starter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not ideal.
Alright, so what else have we got on the list?
Well, so
We usually have...
we've got one here from the chat actually that we should hit on a little bit real quick. So there's the crit item changes coming in for AD carries. How do you guys think that's going to affect pro play, if at all, like right away?
Probably not at all.
Because I haven't read
They changed every single crit item.
Are you serious?
Basically, yes. They all got adjusted around.
Is
like
Lost who you were
Phantom
looking
Dance?
for?
Lost, yes. I had lost his name because it wasn't worth remembering. Like, one of the big changes would be, like, Phantom Dancer. Now, instead... I mean, it's got other changes to it as well, but instead of now, like, whoever you attack last does 60% less damage to you, it has a Mauve Mortius, like, style shield that pops. So when you're below such an amount, then you get a shield for X amount.
Okay.
So, like, they made changes like that. They made changes to Storm Razor, so it's not, like,
I'm gonna have to go read
a
all
must-buy first item, like, all this stuff. I mean, really, I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference in pro play. I think it might bring crit 80 carries back into being more viable late, because right now we're not, like, seeing any. We're seeing, you know, Rageblade Kaisa, we're seeing Ezreal who's poke. Who else were we even seeing? We saw... Who? Is that it? Is that all that's getting played?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, we saw Vayne this week, which was
Lucian.
nice.
We're seeing Lucian a
Lucian,
lot, and Lucian is like more of a mage, marksman, where he's about slinging spells. Like, we're not seeing any crit 80 carries right now, really, outside of Sivir. And we saw a couple Sivers, and I think for her it was almost being more of a spell shield / her team ult pickup rather than what she does personally. So I think... Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I hope we see some crit 80 carries come back.
I would like that. That Vayne game with Vayne on Vayne, I was like, yes.
Yeah, we saw the
more
Vayne
of
ones
this.
too, which was interesting too, because, like, well, I mean, Vayne's not a crit one either.
But she's different.
Yeah, she's very different, and she got picked, like, you pick her to, like, shred tanks, because her 3-hit passive, and then they didn't have any tanks to shred. So it's like, okay, I guess, like, because her whole thing is that third hit does true damage, so it's like, I don't give a shit how much armor you have, I'm gonna fuck you up. And then there was nobody, like, building armor, because they picked, like, a damage comp, so... It'll be interesting to see what we get out of this. I personally think it'll have some effect, but not a drastic one. I think...
Yeah, I don't think it'll be...
I think it's just another one of the changes that Riot has made to try to slow down the first 15 minutes of the game.
No, so the changes they made that they're changing again now slowed down the game, because it made crit 80 carries not ridiculous.
Oh, so wait, they're reverting that a little bit?
Well, so, like, Infinity Edge is going back to old Infinity Edge, and they're
that's
changing.
What Alan said.
They're changing
I
a bunch
must
of
have missed
other
the
ones.
patch notes.
Yeah, well, it's not in pro yet. It's
I was hoping
live
about
now.
that,
It's
too.
been live like a week.
Caitlyn coming back. I would like to see Caitlyn.
Oh, yeah.
Her traps. It's so
If Crit's
so
good,
cool
you
to watch.
always see Tristana, and you often see Caitlyn. And yeah, I would like to see her, especially in pro play, because, like, she's so good with the traps, able to siege and defend with those. So I think we'll see Caitlyn as
bad
well.
with traps. Leona goes in, I'm like, trap behind you.
Yeah. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see, but so crit 80 carries now, and Zaya's the other one you see all the time.
Yes.
They don't get the immediate spike that they got from Storm Razor anymore. They're going to go back to building, like, BF Sword, finish a Zeal item, and then finish IE. That's what you're going to see again. But the reason that all that stuff got changed is because that was so gross, is that you could spike off an item in a half. So they lowered the amount of spike, but they're going to be going back to that
so
spike.
they raised the initial crit item from 300 to 400. Did they reduce that again?
The cost of what?
Like the item that actually gives you crit, the very base item.
Oh, the Crit Cloak, the Brawler's Gloves.
Yeah.
Or Crit Cloak is back now, I'm sorry, but Brawler's Gloves is the one you're thinking of.
Because Zeal is like one of those blades and then the gauntlets.
Yeah, the Brawler's Gloves and a
And it
dagger.
used to be 300 and 300.
And they upped it to 4.
Yeah, so now it's 300 and 400 for the gauntlets.
I don't know if they reverted that or anything.
Oh.
I don't know the cost reversions. I just know more the item changes.
By chance? No.
Yeah, there should be one on the table or in that top drawer. There will be one.
We're good, right?
Yeah.
Oh, top drawer.
But yeah, so like basically the old AD carry went BF sword, Zeal, a full Zeal item. So like the rapid fire cannon or the static shiv. And so and then you finish IE. So at 1.5 BF sword and that Zeal item, you spiked pretty hard. You finished the IE and you spiked really hard. Then they made those changes, and it was you spiked pretty hard on the Storm Razor, but then the spikes after that were lower. So basically it went from being like, so what we just saw was like this compared to the one before it, and what we'll get back to again, and then like that. So the line over. So I think now though, what we're probably going to see is the first item spike will be lower than what we just had. The 2 item spike will be about the same, and 3 item spike will be higher.
Okay. I'm learning so much
for
about
the
AD.
crit AD carries. And you're going to see a little bit different build diversity, which I like too, because like the big one being the Phantom Dancer. Phantom Dancer's a really, really good item now. Because with an AD carry, like, you're not usually afraid of sustained damage. And so like Phantom Dancer was kind of like, but like if I can get a shield from it, that helps me from burst assassins. Like, the Cloud9 comp where we saw where they were diving the shit out of the Sivir, if she has a Phantom Dancer, that's one extra thing to keep her alive.
Yeah.
And so I think that'll be really interesting to see.
There wasn't enough spell shields in the game for that game.
Yeah, well, and then also like Static Shiv's really good, and so the extra damage that's going to be carried on through, like Shiv will hit an extra target now, like an extra minion kind of thing, and Rapid Fire will actually have more range when you get that range pop. Like, it's slight. It's ever so slight, but, you know, it's stuff that carries over from, like, an AD scaling or something. Like, there's all these little effects people have been doing the math for and been like, ooh, this could be really good. And, like, the damage carries over, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm looking at the patch notes right now.
Yeah, there's
I'm gonna have to look at those
so many changes. There's, like, 6 crit items changed. So.
See, I don't play AD generally, so this is definitely gonna be a learning experience for me. But it's good to get familiarize myself with it.
Yeah, so now if you see somebody with a Phantom Dancer and you shoot them, all of a sudden they have a shield, you're like, they don't have a Sterix gauge. What the fuck is going on? Yeah. And it is Phantom Dancer's carrying the same unique passive as Sterix gauge and Maw, the Lifeline.
Yeah.
So you won't be able to stack those. Yeah. So someone like, say, Yasuo or somebody that like. Where they were currently already building Phantom Dancer, Sterix Gauge, and like Infinity Edge, now they won't want to build both of those items because you're going to lose gold efficiency. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how they go with that. Like, I assume Yasuo will still want to go Phantom Dancer, IE, for that insane 2-item spike he already has.
Yeah,
but like, what's he going to replace Sterix Gauge with? Is he going to go like Black Cleaver or something, like for 3rd item instead? You know, which sometimes he already did, so it might just become guaranteed that he goes 3rd item Black Cleaver. So it'll be interesting. We'll see a lot of little stuff here. So now that we've talked about that, though, let's go ahead and move on. What I have is the 2nd item on the list: Team Liquid.
Never. That was my answer.
But
they won't lose.
So Team Liquid went 2-0 again. They're now 6-0. In an interview with Travis Gafford, Impact said, "I think this team can go 18-0. If Peter, Doublelift, stays off of Vladimir, we can go 18-0. Because famously last split, like their only 2 losses early on were Doublelift playing Vladimir because there was like the mage bot lane meta. There was mages being played bot lane. It was really, really good. And, like, he tried to do it, and they lost both those games. Although, one of them wasn't his fault. The first one, absolutely, he sucked dick on Vladimir. The second one, he was actually pretty good, and the rest of the team was awful. But yeah,
I don't wanna
when
see
will
that.
this team lose?
Was that when Golden Guardians beat Team Liquid last year?
That was the second one, I think.
Yeah. I was like, Golden Guardians beat Team Liquid.
Because they were winless, and Team Liquid only had like the one loss.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, Golden Guardians kicking some ass, and then they proceeded to continue to shit
Team Liquid
themselves.
plays Golden Guardians first next week, right?
They do. Like,
Yeah.
so far they've beaten... Team Liquid has beaten Cloud9, CLG, 100 Thieves, Clutch Gaming, FlyQuest, and OpTic.
Yeah.
They face
everyone.
Golden
Almost except
Guardians
for the
and
next two people.
TSM coming up next. And Golden Guardians, TSM, and then Echo Fox would be the one other team they haven't played in this half of the split yet. So, I mean, what do you guys think? When, if ever, are Team Liquid going to lose?
It would be really disgusting if they go undefeated.
It would. I would
But
love that.
It
though. I'd be
has
okay
not
with that.
happened, for the record.
Never? For anyone?
No, nobody ever, and we've had a few different formats. The closest in the current format we have, where it's best of ones, 9 weeks, double round robin. Immortals in the summer split of 2016 lost one game.
Oh, that's impressive.
Yeah, only lost 1 of 8. They went 17-1. Otherwise, we've seen teams who have like lost 3. We also saw TSM back when it was best of 3s, and you played like 30 best of 3s.
Yeah.
They lost like 3 or 5 or something.
Sounds terrible. I'm so glad they don't do that
I know.
anymore.
I'm actually kind of.
I don't have time to watch that
Oh,
many matches.
I didn't really
Super
think about
weeks
that
used to
going
be a
into this,
thing
but I definitely
where
am
they
okay
would
with
play 5 games, like each team played 5 games over 3 days. So you'd play 2 games, 1 game, or, you know, some order of that. So yeah, it was just 3 days of non-stop games. And back then, I used to watch EU some as well. Like,
if it was spread out
fucking
over
super
3 days,
weeks.
I think it might be a little bit easier. Like, sometimes I wish they didn't spread out 10 games between 2 days. Sometimes I wish they would do, like...
No, I said each team played 5 games over 3 days.
I'm aware.
So right now you're watching 2 games over 2 days.
I'm aware. I know how math
This
works.
wouldn't be better. This would be twice as many games on each of those days. It was like 7 or 8 games
sorry.
a day.
I didn't have to deal
I'm
with
trying
that.
to combine
Gross,
so-
those. If we could do, like, 10 matches
Oh!
over, like, 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. But no, this was
I
like...
like it how it is.
This was like 20-some matches over 3
Yeah, no,
days.
that sounds ridiculous.
I wouldn't be able to remember anything.
It was disgusting, yeah.
That's why, like, MSI and Worlds is such a pain in the ass to try to keep track of, because they're all best of 3s at that point.
Oh, when the season used to be best of 3s. Ugh. Like, and some leagues still do that, like LCK still that. But they
Yeah.
also play on more than 2 days a week, so... Yeah.
Team Liquid's not going to lose.
You don't think Team Liquid's going to lose at all?
I mean, I think realistically they're probably going to lose at least a couple games, but it would be so cool to see them go 18-0.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
If you had to put your nickel down, where would it be, though, in the schedule?
Let's see.
Where would their first loss come in? So, Golden Guardians and TSM here in week 4.
I don't think they lose to TSM.
I think
Chase, do you have the faith?
I don't, actually. I was going to say, I think there's a good chance they go 2-0 next week, but
Yeah.
there's also a very real chance that they lose to either Golden Guardians or TSM. You can't keep, like, once you have, like, an undefeated record, like, you know how much mental pressure that puts on you to keep that? Like, you start making, like, small fuck-ups that you
I'm not good
wouldn't...
enough at anything to understand the mental pressure involved in this.
Like, okay, so let's talk about Smash for a second. Trying to make the GSP climb. Like, I will play, like, 3 matches, and I will play insane. I'll be like, okay, I've got to be, like, 1 match away from Elite Smash right now. And then I do nothing but lose the next 6 matches. I'm like, what the hell happened?
You're a tilt machine. It's okay.
I'm not double or any of the other players
So-
on TL, so it doesn't matter.
I think that they're going to get in their head. I think it's very real. Well, I'm hoping that they sandbag and lose to Golden Guardians next week, and
course
then
you are.
they win against TSM.
Yeah.
There were a couple times last year where Golden Guardians, they did beat Fox, they
Yeah.
did beat Team Liquid. I'm pretty sure they beat TSM and Cloud9. Didn't they beat? They beat at least 3 of the 4 like top 4.
Yeah, they got a
teams.
handful of wins they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
Out of their 5, at least 2 or 3 were unexpected. One of them being TL.
yeah. So it's very possible that. I mean, granted, that's a different team then. It's a different team now.
Yeah.
On both sides, but I don't know. I don't think there's any way that they keep this going. I don't like, because everyone fucks up somewhere. Like,
Yeah.
if they don't fuck up on the Rift, they're gonna screw up in picks bans. There's just no way that things stay perfect.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the next patch goes live for pros, there's going to be growing pains there as well. We see it every single time a new patch drops.
That's true.
Things go sideways for teams that have been looking traditionally good.
About that happening, but the patch thing makes sense, you know? It's different, you gotta use it.
Like, I mean, like we were talking about last year with the mage bot lanes. Like, there was a patch that the mage
they
bot
tried
lane
to
was
play
really
Vladimir
good.
for fucking so
And-
I should go back and watch that.
And they shit the bed,
It made me
so...
so mad, though.
Yeah. I think they're probably safe against Golden Guardians. I think they're gonna ban the Kurtis.
Yeah.
Honestly, if Team
Land
Liquid
it down.
doesn't ban Kurtis, I'm gonna be slightly surprised.
Yeah.
I hope they're like, I bet you we can beat it.
If they don't ban it, that's what they're thinking, and they have a counter prepared. And if anybody can win a mid lane battle, it's gonna be Jensen. But Bjergsen did just lose. Although Bjergsen's more team oriented than lane oriented these days, Jensen's still like a lane boss. Now the next three after that, TSM, Echo Fox, and 100 Thieves. I think those are really interesting because all three of those teams have a lot to prove right now. And none of them have, like, garbage players. Like, you've got Bjergsen in the mid on TSM, and Sven in the bot lane. Broken Blade's been doing alright in the top. 100 Thieves, you have Bang, like, Huhi in the middle, okay, whatever.
I think 100
but you
Thieves
got
are
Someday
running
up
for
top,
money.
yeah.
100 Thieves, definitely.
Echo Fox, like, less so in the star power thing, but, like, they've been looking more cohesive. I think TSM and 100 Thieves, those are definitely ones that I would watch out for if I'm Liquid. I think they're gonna prepare super hard for those two over the next 2 weeks. I think the one where if you had to like wager what's the closest percentage of losing one, it wouldn't be until week 7 when they face Cloud9 again. Because that week 1 game was really close, and Cloud9 has only looked better since then.
I do agree
Except
with
in their loss to CLG, because they're like, you know what we should do? Give them 6 dragons.
Yeah.
It'll work.
And let
Trust
Scion
me.
tank
Yeah,
everything.
we're gonna give them
Everything.
Scion and 6 dragons.
Yeah.
NBD guys, NBD.
So,
So I don't expect them to go perfect record, but I think they're probably gonna maybe drop 2 or 3 all season. I'd be surprised if they drop more than 3.
you mean with the summer?
This spring, just this spring,
okay.
yeah. Summer, who fucking knows?
Yeah.
Rosters will be different.
Okay. That'll be interesting then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think they're going to lose more than 2 or 3. I would like to see them go 18-0, and then I'm probably going to jump on that
No,
bandwagon.
No, I need my boys to be the first team to go undefeated.
That would be...
Cloud9, when they entered the league, went undefeated in their first playoffs.
Yeah?
It was like 3 best of 3s, or maybe it was 2 best of 3s and a best of 5. But yeah, they swept all the way through their first playoffs. It was really, really gross.
If they do go 18-0, Double Lift's ego is gonna be fucking ridiculous. That kid's already arrogant as fuck, right?
To be fair, I don't think his ego gets anything that's not international anymore. I don't think he gives a shit about anything domestic. Like, he does his trash talk and has fun with it.
Yeah.
But until he doesn't fail at an international competition, I think all he does is, like, get mad at himself. I mean, if I were him, I would at this point. I mean, it's, like, you can get up to the edge of Elite Smash Chase. You can get up to the edge of, like, Gold, say. And if all you did was, like, not quite make it, would you just hate yourself the whole time?
I already do hate myself. Thank you.
I know.
I have to go talk to my therapist again. Jesus, I thought I was good today.
Good thing you have your therapist right there.
Mm-hmm.
Can I have my therapist as well?
Got a little swig in there.
It was
What is
foam.
that?
But it's not
one,
anymore.
Right? What is this one?
I don't know, it's got a blue label.
Not a big on Indian Polaris.
No, he is though. Alright, so moving on from Team Liquid,
Okay.
let's jump actually to some picks. Let's get a little refresher in here, because I know that's what you're ready for.
I know, I love it.
So, there has been one pick, we've talked about it several times already, that's just standing out right now, and that is Scion. Scion, right now, has a win rate of 71%. I'm just going to go ahead and say that because I know she knows it.
I know it. Yeah.
71% win rate. What do you think his pick and ban rates are right now?
Oh my god. Ban rate's low because they keep giving them to people.
Or even combined. What do you think his pick ban rate combined is
I
even?
bet he's been banned 3 times total.
Nope.
4. Twice.
11 out of 30 matches. His ban rate's
been
actually 37%, slightly
That's
over
higher
a
than I
third
thought
of
it was.
matches.
Yeah.
I mean, 1 over a third.
I guess I have some of the stats right in front of me.
I know,
There's
but it's not like I look at
one,
him enough.
2. I already lost.
His-
God damn it.
Well, and more of his bans have come this week. Now, his pick rate, he's been picked 14 out of the 30 matches, 47%. So between the two, he's running 84%. So pretty high pick ban overall. Somehow, 16% matches, people are like, nah. But,
Yeah, that's surprising to me.
but, like, I don't understand how teams are not either first picking it or banning it constantly now. I understand we have a lot of major bans, you know, Cassiopeia, Akali, Lucian's still pretty prominent. But, like, we're seeing Camille, Aatrox, Urgot...
The problem is that there's more OP picks than there are bans to go for them.
Which is a good thing, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree, because you can't ban out 2 people and be like, okay, we're all on the same level now. It's like you actually have to try to prioritize your pick bans a little bit and be a little bit smart about it. Because right now there are at least like 10 viable bans in any given game.
Yeah. So do we think that these other ones should remain prioritized over Sion? Should Sion still only be banned a third of the time?
No, I think he should be banned.
Like, I'm surprised he's not being banned half to 2/3 right now.
I mean,
At which point Riot comes in with the Nerf bat, and they're like, okay, fuck this noise. But at 71% win rate, why do so many teams think they can beat him?
to be fair, those stats are at the end of week 3. Like,
Right.
we might see a ban start coming a little bit more
That's true.
starting in week 4.
True.
But, like,
I would hope so.
I mean, they probably saw it day 1 and they're like, okay, it's just a fluke. Day 2, they're like, shit, okay. We need to probably take a look at this.
And then week 2, they were like,
Yeah, because, I mean, you go on the stage with all of, like, your different plans and ideas and thoughts on how the match is going to go. And if Sion wasn't even on your radar to begin with, it probably isn't, it's not going to be there, like, when you're on stage and you're like, I saw him dominate last game, maybe we should fix this real quick. But then that could fuck everything else up, too. So I imagine starting in week 4, we will start seeing some more targeted bans towards Sion.
Right.
That would be my guess.
Now, it could be a sample size thing, but his win rate actually went down this week. He won 3 and lost 2. So he had done better total over the course of week 1 and 2 with 5 less picks. So he had been picked 9 times out of 20 matches. Which, granted, like I said, it's not a lot to look at.
To be fair...
But when he had won 8 out of 9... Or, I'm sorry, it would have been, 8 out of 9. Like, it's pretty fucking gross.
I was going to say to be fair, and then my point wasn't going to be a to be fair type of comment. I was like, I'm glad I stopped there. Well, I was going to, because win rate doesn't have necessarily anything to do with kills, but like the Golden Guardians versus TSM game, it was like 18 kills to like 34 or something like that. It was something absurd. Like that was my unexpected bubble wrap midget fight. I was like, what are you guys doing? Just like got like those big rock'em sock'em, not robots. What do we call them? Like
sock'em boppers.
Yeah, whatever those things are. Like just punching each other with those all day long.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I mean, I guess you made me think of a good point there, that his win rate, doesn't equal kills or whatever. And you do have to look at all these team comps holistically. It is very possible they were looking at the team comps to sign and saying he wasn't the issue, it was all the other stuff we let them have with him. Now, the little bit I've dug into it, I don't think that's the truth.
I was about to say, I do not agree.
Generally, when he's lost, the other team had somebody specific. And that somebody is Ezreal. Now, that's not always been the case, and he has beaten an Ezreal. But I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there. Ezreal's win rate, what do you think it is?
I'm gonna guess high, say...
Sion was 71.
75.
I'll say 78.
71.
Okay.
God damn it.
I feel like I knew that.
Now,
I didn't think it was the same thing.
Here's the better one.
Yeah.
What do you guys think his pick rate is? What do you think his ban rate is?
I think his ban rate's probably pretty low.
Good,
I think it's really low.
Yeah.
Like,
he's only been banned
not
like
even
2 or
on the
3
radar.
times, I think.
Like,
out of 30 games, how many times do you think?
Less than 5 times.
Less than 5 times.
You're both right.
Yeah. I'm saying 3. He's been banned 3 times.
0.
Oh my god.
He has not been banned yet with a 71%
Seems like a
win
stacked
rate.
question.
Yeah.
Fucking.
That's why I had to black that one out, because that's such a good... So how many times do you think he's been picked? What percentage or how many times out of 30?
I'll say 54.
54 out of 30.
54%.
54%.
Okay, wait. I don't know. High? No, okay, so...
No, he's on the desk.
Just week 1.
No, he was there this week.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, one day, I guess. Okay.
I don't know. I'd say maybe like 40%-ish.
80%.
He's been picked 80%?
He's been picked 24 out of 30 games.
I don't know how math
with a
works.
71% win rate. Like, he's been picked 24 of 30 games,
I feel
won
like it had to have been
17
high.
of them, and has not been banned once.
I think they need to start banning Sion and Ezreal.
Yeah!
But the same thing can be said, like, if Cassie hadn't been banned 90% of the games.
Cassiopeia has a 100% win rate in the 2 games she has not been banned.
Yes.
And I get that. But, like, Lucian has been banned many times. Jace has been banned like 3 or 4 times. And you're not going to ban a 71% win rate Ezreal. Ever. Like, Sneaky has played it, I think, every single game so far. Like, almost all of their games.
Well, again,
and he's been gross as fuck on it, especially this week.
We're starting to get into the point to where
I played both
how many bans can you realistically throw before something gets through?
But that's why I point out, like, the Lucian and the Jace. Why are you banning those when there's Ezreal and Sion with 71%? That's what I don't get.
I don't know. Well, okay. Was the Lucian a targeted ban against...
Lucian was banned against TSM, it was banned against OpTic.
And Team Liquid.
Yeah. And I get it against Team Liquid, like, it's double lift.
I mean, is it potentially more targeted? Because
A little more.
there are some AD carries that you're like, okay, he can really play this champion.
Right.
This other person
But
on the same
apparently
champion,
everyone
he can't
can play Ezreal.
Oh,
Not me.
I feel like they... Well,
Fucking aiming?
I actually can. It's been a while. I'd probably be dead now.
Yeah. Well, I know that they...
I haven't played him since the
W
rework of the W.
The
I
damage,
played him back when the double tier build started, and I was like, oh shit, this is gross. I was just fucking bitches up. And I had never played Ezreal prior to that. Like, he just does so much damage if you can make it to mid-game. Yeah. Like, if you can get your second tier stacking up, like, it's just over. Like,
you can proc that damage with just an auto, right?
The W damage.
Yeah,
it
doesn't have to
so,
be
like, on turrets and stuff, obviously, it would have to be an auto. On enemies, it can be any of your spells, Which is, like, we saw the Lysandra get popped game 2 of... was it game 2 for Cloud9? Game 1? I don't know. One of them. He had put the W on, Lysandra, like, went stasis.
Oh,
and when she came out, he had the ult hit, so it did the ult damage, which was already huge because of all the AP from the tier items. And then... then also the W on top of it, and so it was just like boom, did like
killed her with like 50%.
Yeah, it did like 50-60%. It did like over $1,000. It was just like,
cool.
oh,
that was cool.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, well, I don't know. They're 80 carries. They're supposed to be able to pop off. That's what they do.
Oh yeah, no, I get it.
I mean, if they get caught out by themselves, they're generally screwed. So I mean, they have to have a little bit of oomph behind them.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily saying like Ezreal's overpowered or anything like that. Like he's doing disgusting things, but. What I don't get is 71% win rate, 80% pick rate, 0% ban rate. Like that just numbers-wise doesn't sync the fuck up, right? Like if really you got beat by the same jungler as Warwick,
I'm gonna
70% of the time
I'm gonna start playing that champion, and I'm gonna lose every fucking game.
Like, who do you ban when you're playing Warwick?
Graves,
because he fucks you every time.
Every single time, yeah.
So you ban him. Apparently, every single team says, you know what, I'll beat the Graves this time.
Well, so the problem with that, though, is then, like, potentially, like, a Camille, an Akali, a Draven, a Cassio, an Aatrox, or a Lucian get through.
Camille gets losses. Draven, like, he's such a pocket pick and a niche pick. Like, I get it with, like, Cassiopeia. I super get there. I super get with the Akali, too. Lucian, like, directed, but, like, we saw Silas banned against CLG.
Like, I'm just starting to... like, so, your 80 carry... It's easier... Words. They are escaping me. I feel like it's easier to ban against one, like, either the top lane or the mid lane,
True.
And then, because, like, if you fuck them, you give your other top lane, and then that can potentially roll throughout the other lanes. But, like, if you ban all of these 80 carries, like, you've
that's
only
what I'm saying. Just ban the one. Ban the one with an 80% pick rate and a 71% ban rate.
Yeah,
Right,
but
like
when you've got 3
Ezreal,
bans,
Ezreal,
let's
Ezreal,
say,
Ezreal,
then, like,
Ezreal.
potentially the Urgot, the Akali, or the Cassio makes it through. And then
Urgot, leave Urgot through. He has like a 60% win rate, if that.
There was only one
Ban
game.
Cassiopeia, absolutely. Ban Akali, absolutely. Then ban Ezreal or Sion.
I'm just saying, with the number of people that are so good right now, you can only ban 3, and that means that 1 to 2 to maybe 3 get through.
But 0.
Yeah.
He's
He
literally
was
been
played
banned never.
He's played in 9 games yesterday. Or this past
Yeah,
week.
this week he got
was in 9
banned.
games.
He got banned 0. He just wasn't picked once.
Maybe they all have like a on the DL
What teams
type
didn't
of
pick him,
like.
by the way?
It was Fly and TL. They didn't do it.
I think they all have like a on the DL type of agreement, a gentleman's agreement. We don't ban the Ezreal.
It must.
They got
be.
together and they were like, "Can we just not?"
The desk was making jokes that now that Sneaky did like back to back,
He should do that.
1,000 damage per minute. Yeah, he should
the
just
Ezreal
ban
cosplay.
do Ezreal cosplay, and people in like Reddit were like, he's already like softened us up with his cross-dressing cosplay. He's just gonna turn me all the way now. Like it's gonna be like. They could be like, oh no, he's dressed like a girl. That's why I'm attracted to him. And he's gonna be like, nope, he's just sexy. I'm gay. Damn.
It's not your fault. You were born that way.
No, he made us that way.
Oh, damn, he's good then.
Yeah, apparently. Hey,
Ugh.
let's be fair. His cosplay is fucking on point.
It is. It really is.
Whoever makes the costumes, and then his girlfriend who does the Esther Lynn, she does all like the makeup and shit.
Yeah.
They fucking do an
On
amazing
point.
job. All right.
I've had several confused boners looking at Sneaky. I'm okay. to
And
admit
several
it.
that he was fully aware of what was going on.
Oh yeah, I was like, damn, Sneaky, you got some thighs going on. Those legs go on.
Making me question my ideology.
Ah.
All right.
What else? What else? There's other things I do want to talk about. But they're not like.
Do you want to talk about some weird picks?
Yeah, because I like those. Those are fun.
Everybody likes weird picks. Let's do some weird picks quick.
Well, the one that I really had put down was the Zillion Hooney playing with the Spell Thief's Edge at the top of the lane.
Yes.
He was the announcers were like, well, he's ahead in gold, but it wasn't ever by much.
Nope.
And he ended up being behind in gold. When they were talking about how when they finish this item, he's going to be able to, proc it on the whatever it was. What was it?
So he
Kennen or something?
No, there was a Kennen later they thought was going to do the same thing. So
Gotcha.
it's a no CS build. You literally
Yes.
don't CS. You just get the passive gold because
Yeah.
you have the Spell Thieves, and then you poke, and so you're just racking up gold that way. And the intent being you're also going to deny your opponent CS because they're going to suffer poke and then have to stay away from you / go back, all that stuff, which he did pretty well. But then the idea being when you can get that completed so that you're taking CS anyway, you also start like roaming and getting kills and shit. And he didn't do that
It didn't work out for him.
Hooney's
He never had a
really
big enough
bad
lead.
about leaving his lane. Like, Hooney likes to live on Hooney Island, and that's where he likes to live. Like, he likes it when, like, Dardoch comes and helps him out, but now that Dardoch's not on this team anymore, he's got to deal with Lyra. And Lyra was up there when he could, but...
Yeah, and I think a lot of it in this scenario also had to do with, I just don't think Hooney's a great Zillion.
Yeah.
Like, not many pro players are.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on my first page.
Like, Jensen a fantastic Zillion.
Well, the difference being
Bjergsen's
is
pretty
that,
good at it, too.
that Hooney's probably only been playing the Zillion in the top lane for like a week.
Yeah,
or two,
a week or two tops.
Whereas Zillion's a normal mid pick, so everyone should mid / support.
No, I was just normal.
Yeah. So it's a lot more realistic to see him mid and having a mid laner know how to play him, or being in the bot lane and having
absolutely.
a support know how to play him. But then you stick it on Hooney. Where
Why
Hooney,
would he know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
I fully agree.
I don't think it's a viable for LCS play. I really
I
don't
think
think
it was
it's gonna be
an
something
interesting
that anybody else is
cheese,
gonna
but
try.
I want to
didn't...
play it in solo queue so
Maybe
bad.
solo queue's great. LCS play, not so
Well,
much.
because especially at like my level, if I can ignore CS, which usually that's one of the advantages I have over my opponent is I'm better at CSing than they are. But if I can play it in, you have to play it like into a melee because otherwise they can just harass back. But like if I'm just playing Teemo or Zillion or whatever,
Teemo would
and
be
I
so
can
much fun to do
harass,
it on.
and he's already
That
a
would be
harassing
fun.
asshole, yeah. Like, so your opponent, who's probably already not CSing well, you know, whether it's low gold or down to, like, anything below that, like, they're probably not already CSing well. So now they're CSing worse. So now they have no gold. You're getting near pro levels of gold as long as you're harassing on cooldown, and you don't have to fucking try. You're gonna end the laning phase an item up almost. Like, it's gonna be, you're gonna be up, like, seriously, 1,500 gold probably minimum.
Maybe. I mean, Hooney never was.
Right, but he was also facing off against somebody
gold.
who can CS.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. In, like, our solo queue, if you're playing somebody who you can barely CS to begin with, they're like, oh, I'm gonna have 50 to 60 CS at 10 minutes instead of somebody who's like, I'm gonna have 80 plus. Yeah. And you make them have like 25 instead. And you, instead of you personally being like, I'm good.
It sucks real bad.
Yeah.
25? Yeah.
And like, even if you're good at CSing at that level and you're like, I get like roughly 70 or so, like, you're like, I have the equivalent of like 80 right now. Like, this is fucking gross.
I usually play in the jungle where I don't have to worry about my enemy team fucking me up while I'm trying to...
Yeah, they just the jungle camp stand there and let you fuck on them.
Yeah, I like that. When I try to play top lane, my CS is generally, like, mediocre at best. Like, I need to get better, but I don't play top enough anymore.
Yeah. Chase is strictly a bottom. I mean, jungler.
Power bottom.
Yeah. I think that's that should be the terminology for AD carry. There's the bottom and then the power bottom.
Ooh, I dig it. You guys heard it here first. Power bottoms are the new AD carry.
Woo! All right. So, God, where were we there? Oh, we were just talking about picks. So, like, that's an interesting one. I don't know that we'll see much, if any, more of it. I just don't think it's good enough, like you said. Like,
it requires a lot of focus too to not. I mean, it's ingrained to kill that fucking minion. Any minion, you see a minion, you get the last hit. Yeah. I imagine that it would be very hard to go against those instincts and to only try and poke the champion,
right?
And then maybe take the cannon when it's on cooldown or something.
Right? No, yeah, you should always be taking the cannon. Actually, in that strat, it's slightly better.
Yeah. So I don't know that we'll see it again. And I definitely don't think it was a smart pick into, you know, an Urgot or a tanky team like they had.
I think the opportunity for it to give you a large lead is so small that it's not worth it. Yeah. Like, the secondary factor of it being when you upgrade and you can start attacking them, you can also ward for yourself, so you have 2 Sightstone items on the map. But, yeah, it just doesn't seem to be worth it.
That was the longest game. So I have that bit done.
Although, that's yet another reason, the Sightstone thing's yet another reason I want to play it top with Teemo, because then you have wards,
shrooms,
sweeper, and your mushrooms for vision and slow. Like, awesome. Yeah, no, you could just, like, own the top lane and be like, fucking come at me.
We saw an Olaf. It did lose this week. Did we only see the one?
I think we only saw one this week. We've seen him previously, though.
Okay. Well, we didn't do a weird picks, and I really like seeing Olaf on the Rift again. Yeah,
he's not so much weird anymore. You don't see him very much, which it's nice to keep seeing him pop up. Yeah, he did get banned. He's been banned a couple times.
3 times.
Yep. And I think that's about the only, like, strange pick. Like, we've seen a few pop in that we haven't seen in a while. Jin Shao, Thresh. For whatever reason, CLG still thought it was a good idea to pick Victor, although they put him in the mid lane at least. But fucking seriously, guys, we're still seeing Jace pop up.
I have weird ones, but that were standouts. I mean, we already said Bang's Vayne was really good.
Yep.
Who he's last play is Lissandra's not a weird pick, but that play was what got them the game.
Who he's flank on that last one, and I don't know if you guys heard the comms from it too.
Yeah, right. Like after, when they played it.
That Afro doing what Afro was supposed to do. Like, who he's like, I'm on side, I can flank. And then Afro says, okay, everybody back off to give him that space. And, like, they do. They, like, back off. Team comes forward, flank, and it's just, like, a full team. It was disgusting.
That's what got them.
It was a stark contrast to Bjergsen's Lissandra. Not that they played it differently necessarily, but that they both got full team ults. And one of them had team follow-up, and one of them very much did not. Because we saw it over and over where Bjergsen would get, like, a 4-man ult. Yeah. Like, he would get in there, he would do his E or whatever, the AoE, lockdown, and then he'd self-ult, and, like, nothing would fucking happen. It was just like, dude, can anybody add damage? Like, that's a win. That's a team win right there. And I understand it has to do with their comps and what kind of damage they have and how poked down they were and if they're behind and all that shit. But it hurt to see Bjergsen, like, trying to 1v9, basically. It's just like, fuck, if you had any help right now.
when people say that 1v9,
1v9.
you're basically playing against your own team.
Yeah, no, I almost never say it, but in that scenario, it felt like it because he's like, guys, and they're like, what? It's like, fuck, you might as well just be warding.
There were so many team fights this week where it seemed like nobody was actually communicating with each other. They would like kind of all go in, and then like they would all kind of go back out, and then one would chase. And then they would go like this, and then they would kind of go like this again for a second, and then they would run away again. I was like, what the hell just happened? You guys skirmished for like 5 minutes, and no one died.
I feel like we saw a ton of those in both games against Cloud9, where it was that the teams they were facing didn't know what the fuck to do. Because like both TSM and Clutch, like, one, they had dive comps in both of those games. More so in Clutch. Like, and Clutch had the abilities to peel. They had Sivir with her own spell shield. You had support Alistar, I believe. Yeah, support Alistar. You have Urgot. You have Lee Sin. You have Lissandra. You have all the fucking peel in the world necessary to stop a Nocturne. And granted, Shen and Galio on top of that make it hard, but they weren't even stopping the Nocturne.
Yeah.
And it was just like, if you guys are going to constantly leave him out to dry, yes,
I don't
he's
think
going
they
to
had
die.
a chance in that. I'm sorry, C9's team was so stacked.
It was.
So tanky, so across the range.
Day 1 or day 2?
They got so far. Day 2. They
Yeah,
got
day 2.
so far ahead. Game 2, day 2.
Yeah, and so that
But
game,
like they weren't executing peel at all.
C9 or
That bothered
CG had
me.
no turrets. They had no objectives.
No, they got their shit kicked in
Yeah.
because they lost a few die fights, and like later on you could see they were getting it figured out, and like he was doing a good job spell shielding himself on the Sivir, and like he almost made it out of like 2 fights.
But how do you even stop that? Because you
stop that by the Alistar, the Lissandra. Like, your team should be helping you out. Like,
So-
the Urgot should frontline, and then the other 3 should be helping get you out alive. Because Sivir will melt the team. But they're like maybe sending one person. Like, there was one time where Lee Sin, he like went for like a fun flash kick. It's like, just ult. Just fucking ult the Nocturne.
Yeah, just get him away.
Yeah.
Because the Shin's right on top of the Nocturne coming in with him. You know?
Yeah, like,
He's
between
ulting
Alistar
the
and Lee
Nocturne.
Sin, like, granted, Nocturne's gonna spell shield one of your things. Absolutely. But if you blow Pulverize, Headbutt, Lee Sin's ground slap and kick, like, just to make sure something that knocks
locks
back
in.
lands, you save Sivir, and then you can frontline, and she'll win the fight for you.
I think they just panicked every single time.
Oh,
it
no,
happened.
they
100%,
absolutely
yeah.
did. You are completely
I would too.
correct.
I mean, like, if that shit's coming at me and I know his Shin's about to pop off on the Nocturne,
It's like-
and then you got the Galio about to hold on, like, I'm just
I
like,
see
well,
shit
fuck
like
it,
that,
you know,
and
I'm
it
just
makes
done.
me want to learn
I
Nocturne
can't.
Jungle, because I'm
Yeah.
like, I know people panic. Like, I hate it when I play even with my friends, and like, I see the Nocturne come up, and like, if it comes to me, I'm like, he's on me. Like, I'm like, he's mid lane, he's top lane, whatever. I shout where he is, and like, he'll go, darkness, and then like, nobody's doing anything. I'm like, where is he, guys? They're like, oh, and then somebody dies, they're like, he was bot. I'm like, can you fucking call it out? I can start running that way, so that I can get there. Like, I won't be there to save you, but we could win the fight afterwards. Like, people panic. And, like, I have friends who are plat level players, and they just don't say anything the minute darkness comes in. It's like paranoia comes down, and they just lose their shit.
Yep.
And it's like, I totally get that pros do too, and you can see it, like, especially on that day, you know, Clutch had lost their previous 3 games.
Yeah.
They're on a slide, and, like, then this is happening. You could just see they were just, like, not together as a team.
I'm actually kind of glad that Clutch is losing right now. Like, I was trying, like,
I'm sad, but
I really thought about, like, backing Clutch, and I'm glad I didn't. Because
so you're just
at
glad
least,
they're losing so that you don't feel like you made their own choice.
well, I mean, not that Golden Guardians is doing much better, but I at least expected Golden Guardians to do this well. Whereas Clutch, like, I would have expected them to not have lost the last 4 games they've played.
Okay. All right, so, well, let's go ahead. We're going to do 2 quick games. The first one here, we're going to say... We're not going to get the fun one yet. First one, though, we're going to talk about 2 teams. 100 Thieves, they started with 3 losses. They've finished up now with 3 wins. Are they legitimately on their way up? Like, are they headed back towards the top? Are they just kind of evening out? Are they where they should be? Or has this been a fluke? They lost to TSM, Cloud9, TL to start the season. 2 really good teams. And TSM, we thought they were really good. Well, we'll get to that in a moment. And then they've beaten Golden Guardians, Clutch, and CLG. 3 middling teams right now. So is 100 Thieves actually on their way up towards the top? Have they risen back to about where they belong? Or is this a bit of a fluke?
I don't know. I really want 100 Thieves to just lose all the matches, so I'm...
Wow. Why?
Because I really just dislike everything about them. Them as people, their beliefs, everything. Hate them all.
Is it because they're Jewish?
Mostly.
So Heather, what are your thoughts on it that aren't about yourself?
They have a good team. They have good people. They've got Bang. And someday, I guess, you know.
Those are good players.
I think they'll end up middle of the road, if anything.
So you think they brought themselves back to where they should be about
basically.
now? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's reasonable.
Honestly, they should be much higher than they are, and they have just done nothing but shit themselves. Like, I get
the first 3 games, but they also included Cloud9 and Team Liquid.
No, I still want them to keep shitting themselves.
I mean, I think Bang's finally getting his feet under him a little bit, but I'll go ahead and say personally, I think they're probably going to end up middle to upper middle because I with Chase what he said a little bit earlier, where I just don't think Aframu was MVP of the spring split last year. He deserved it then, but.
I think he's just been nosed down.
Yeah, and like maybe he'll climb back up, but like shit like that TP after he died, like what the fuck? Like a team like that is not going to finish top 3. Like if he can clean all that up, great. But then you still have Huhi in the mid, and granted he played great on Lissandra and had that awesome flank at the end. But he's Huhi, and what I've known of him for the last like 2 seasons is I'm gonna pick a different champion every fucking game, even though I have like an 80% win rate on one of them and like 20 on the rest. Like, he just picks shit, it feels like. Maybe Prolly will kick that out of him, but I don't even know. I don't know that I trust Prolly anymore as a coach. Like, he just seems to kind of let shit happen. Like people are like, we should do this. He's like, okay, yeah. It's like, well, there can be some good set from that, because you get, like, innovation and, like, player comfort. I feel like there's a lack of structure in that organization somehow.
Well, so... Of their last 3 wins, I think only one of them is probably a real win. I think their CLG match is probably the one that they earned, even if they didn't like look especially great doing it. Like winning against Golden Guardians, that's like kicking a midget while he's down.
And they could have easily lost against Clutch.
Yeah,
so easily could have they lost that game. I agree there too.
And Clutch, I think Clutch's own biggest problem right now. I think that they're all playing really poorly. I feel like there is a huge lack of communication between everyone on that team right now.
Yeah.
And so, like, I feel like the Clutch game was kind of a gimme, as was the Golden Guardians one last week. CLG winning that one was a little bit more legitimate, even though, like, they were still making goofy plays here and there. So, I don't see 100 Thieves doing much better. I bet they go 50-50 at best next week, or 0-2 at what I personally think is more likely.
Yeah. So let's play the other half of this little game here, and I know you've been waiting for this one for sure. Well, possibly anyway. TSM. They started off 2-2. Mm-hmm. They were looking pretty decent actually. Beat 100 Thieves, lost to Clutch, beat Fox, lost to FlyQuest. They looked all right. And then they lost to Cloud9 and Golden Guardians this week. I don't think we'd be playing this game if they didn't lose to Golden Guardians. And they didn't look very good against Golden Guardians. Or Cloud9, but that's something else.
Cloud9.
They did mention that we might start seeing Grig back in a little bit of capacity.
Yeah, they're going to start like mixing them in. So, same game with TSM. Are they actually on their way down? Are they going to keep going down? Did they level out to where they should be? Which, granted, right now is tied for last.
Yeah.
Like, I guess it put in there. Or, like, is this actually real? Are they towards the bottom team? Are they going to miss playoffs again? Or are they a team that, like, okay, they just had a bad week. It's going to turn back around.
Not going at least 1-for-1 is really bad.
Yeah.
And losing to Golden Guardians while you're at it, like, that's just adding insult to injury. So, unless there was something really off with that team this weekend, I don't know. They didn't look great.
Well, there was definitely some offness going. You've had me pull up 2 highlights in particular. So, which one did you want to hit first?
Let's do the Acadian.
We're gonna go to Acadia. Oh, with Rift
Day
Herald.
one, yes.
Okay.
and did we talk about how we missed a Rift Herald?
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
what this was? I forgot what game that was.
So, all right, I'm pulling that up
Against
right
C9.
now. So go ahead and talk about this.
He misses a Rift Herald, and he backs, and he doesn't pick it up.
Like,
And that's it. that's
he kills the Rift Herald. He's alone there. It's
Yeah.
not like he thought his teammate was picking up. He had already gone back top. Broken Blade had left.
I feel like what he was thinking 4 steps ahead. He was like, I'm gonna kill this. I'm gonna go back to base. I'm gonna go to my red. I'm gonna get that.
Yeah.
And then he forgot
Shoving
step
it.
1, which is pick up the Rift Herald before you back. And I think that's all it was. It was just a big ass brain fart. And I'm sure they reamed him out after it.
Well, and it got
It's not even the first time
worse,
that's
too.
happened. Like we
Not
saw
in the LCS.
we saw Dardoch do that last year.
Yeah, I think
And
we
that
saw
was
somebody.
really painful. I was like,
Yeah.
ooh, Dardoch, what
'Cause-
are you doing?
Well,
Even
and
if you don't get much with the Rift Herald, it's still probably something.
well, yeah. I mean,
Unless you
with
fuck
turret
up, you should
plating
get
now.
at least a charge.
Yeah,
Well, and with
one
turret
charge.
plating now, it's actually worth quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because that Rift Herald does true damage. So, like, the way the plates work, like when you take
Well, I
one
think he
down, it
got
gets
after
increased armor.
14. I think he took it after
Oh
14.
shit! I just closed it.
I'm
I can
almost
look again.
positive he did.
It might have been, but either way, like
Yeah.
you're probably gonna end up with a turret going down. That's a ton of
Yeah.
map pressure, all that.
I was so
But-
surprised when he did it.
Well, and not only did he lose that,
He lost his red buff.
he
after.
lost the red buff got stolen because Cloud9 invaded red, and they got it right before he could get there. So even in his fucking hurry to get back to his jungle, he didn't do that fast enough. And it's just like
And they gave the enemy team the 3 buff.
this was late in the game,
Oh,
so
never
like it was just stealing the red buff away from either an Olaf.
I watch
or
all these
going
matches and
to
some
Sven.
of them start to blend together.
No,
like,
absolutely.
The highlights, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember watching
But like
that.
as an Olaf, red buff's great because it allows you to stick to your opponent because the slow on it, and it's just like nope, none of that for you.
That was the C9 game, and that's where their
Yeah.
team column almost kind of worked against them too, because Licorice had the Silas, and he wasn't doing so good at Silas at first, but then he started really nailing those Zillion ults. He nailed like a Scion ult.
There was a disgusting Zillion ult he stole.
Yeah.
Like
He did-
you
I
have
think he
to
did 2 of
slow mo it. No, there's the one though. You
That
have to
was,
slow
like,
mo it.
he almost
It's
died.
the north side of Mid River, like
Yeah.
straight there in the brush. Yeah, it's him and Olaf are going
I
at it.
honestly couldn't see it. I
Oh,
really couldn't. I didn't see
Like
him
go
pick it up,
back
I didn't
and
see him
watch it
use
frame by frame because he legitimately
Yeah.
ults. You see his little purple chains come out and hit the Zillion. The marker come up on him.
He had to have used it
Between
immediately.
hits, and he has like sub 100 health, and as soon as like he gets it, he immediately self ults. Like so, he must
I
have
remember
clicked
it.
R and then just be doing Alt R or whatever,
Yeah.
like and self casted instantly. You do not see it go off on him. You see him die, but then it
Revive.
swirls.
Yep, nobody
like-
saw that.
Fucking like
Like I really couldn't follow it,
V-frame.
but I knew it happened.
it
because
was
he was
so
being revived.
gross.
So yeah, Licorice really came back on Silas with that one.
So I have that
the
other one.
second game, yes.
I have it queued up for you. So go ahead and start talking about it here.
Uh,
I won't ruin this one for you.
You want to do it? You can.
No, I said I'm not going to ruin it. I
Oh.
don't even know what it is.
Okay,
you guys are ruining it by making me
Your
have to
team
back it up.
wins. Golden Guardians comes back with this one. TSM is fighting the Elder Drake. They back off. Bjergsen pushes in up the bottom wave. Golden Guardian starts taking the Elder. And instead of taking the 2 inhibitors that are open, because it's fucking Lissandra and Urgot up there pushing while they're fighting a almost, like, maybe half Elder Drake at this point,
Yep.
they both TP into the same ward, and they get crushed. Like, Golden Guardians just backs off of the Elder, swarms onto them, or they already taken it, I'm not even sure. But the double TP right there was a huge mistake on TSM's part, in my opinion,
Yeah.
because they could have given up Elder, taken 2 inhibs, and let the big minions crash into the base, and then just defended while they had Elder for a bit.
Yeah, it looked really good at first because they were able to get Ole and Deftly.
No, but Ola
Like, and
saved
push them off.
Deftly.
Well, no, Deftly ends up dying.
Yeah,
They
that's what
chase
happened.
and they get both of them, but the problem is then you have the rest of the team facing the Scion, the Aatrox, and the Karthus. And
Yeah.
if we know anything about Froggen's Karthus, he does a shit ton of damage. And then he follows up with the ult, and then
Yeah.
of course at the end of it all, Froggen backs, TP's
TP's
back
in,
in and runs in,
comes
and
up,
they
yeah.
clean up the fight like everybody's seeing right
Yep.
now. Like, if it's not for Karthus, maybe that ends up being the right play. But, I mean, you're giving up... Granted, it's a double Infernal, single Ocean Elder. That's not nothing. But they could have, like you said, the 2 of them there, they could have gotten 2 inhibs.
I think so.
Like,
And then I think TSM might have had a chance to win that game. But your Golden Guardians played it well against their mistake.
Yeah,
They really did.
And they end up cleaning up that fight. They get the Elder for themselves. They still get the Elder at the
Yeah.
end of it all. And so all you end up doing is giving them more gold in the kills and not giving up any of your, or not getting any of the.
I think Golden Guardians looked
structures.
much more composed this week.
So much more cohesive.
I hope that continues.
Same.
Yeah.
Like they played like a team who was actually working together. And honestly, I'm gonna keep saying it, and maybe they'll prove me wrong, but I think a big part of that has to do with putting Hanser on a tank. Because whenever he's on a Victor, a Rise, a what have you, he's looking for that big play where it's like, oh, I'm going to kill everyone, rather than looking for the what will set up my team play. And if he sets up deftly and Froggen to do things, and Contracts is looking to set people up but also kind of like dive constantly. Yeah. But if Hanser's setting up that team, they will take advantage of it. And Hanser's good enough to set them all up. He's just not good enough to carry them when no one is setting him up, and that's not what the rest of that team's gonna do.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite Golden Guardian?
I really like Hanser. I think Ole's probably my favorite right now, though. I want to give the...
He looked good this week.
Yeah.
I want to give the support the love that he deserves.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's play our last game of the night. 2 more sets of this. The last game is going to be about the 2 4-ways we have going on.
Yeah.
I should have had like a sexy noise queued up to play, like, so we have 2 4-way ties going on right now, because we have Team Liquid undefeated at the top, Cloud9 below them at 4 and 2? Yeah, 4 and 2. And then we have a 4-way tie at 3 and 3 between 100 Thieves, CLG, Echo Fox, and FlyQuest. Now, the game here is that, 4-way is just too many people. We're going to kick one out and keep this to a nice 3-way. So, if you're looking at those 4 teams, who doesn't belong with them? And we're saying we're kicking them below. Because getting kicked out of the 3-way, nobody wants that. So, if you're kicking one team down below those 3,
I got mine.
Who doesn't belong? Chase?
100 Thieves, fuck them.
Damn.
You have to give a reason why that doesn't involve you.
My reason is because fuck them. My reasoning is that they have been their own biggest enemy. They're like Clutch, Clutch. Clutch looked really bad these last 2 weeks, and it's because they just look bad. The 2 games that 100 Thieves won, it wasn't because they looked good, it was because the other team looked worse. With the exception of maybe CLG.
So you think that CLG, Fox, and FlyQuest have all looked good, whereas 100 Thieves just looked not as bad?
Yes.
Okay.
CLG didn't look spectacular this weekend. They won against Fox. They looked pretty okay. They lost against 100 Thieves, and they looked okay at best. Their day 2 was much less compelling for my argument here, but...
Yeah, especially when you said, except maybe CLG, you said, I was like, well, you're not helping yourself. But all right, well, Heather, if you have to kick somebody out of the 4-way into keep them out of your threesome, it's going to be Echo Fox. And why Echo Fox?
Well, they lost to CLG, and I thought they were going to lose to FlyQuest. FlyQuest had a lead on that game. They had just the better first half of that game, and then Fox turned it around real quick, because all I have is wow at Fox. Jesus. Because, Fly picked up 3 kills and then blew a Baron. Fox picks it up and then a Dragon. And then they just
Did
go
the
for
Baron
the win.
enjoy the blowing? That's what we must know.
So I think they pulled it together, but at the same time, it was a close one. I think FlyQuest has the better team overall. I think their picks were questionable. I don't think they should probably pick Kennen for one.
Yeah.
But, he was up against a Jace, so, both sides I was like, eh. So it's going to have to be
Echo Fox out. And Jeff says he has hopes for FlyQuest to split, which neither of you guys kicked FlyQuest or CLG out, so they seem to be the ones you guys have the most confidence in combined anyway.
I think FlyQuest is a really good team, and the losses they had,
I think they did just have a
very weird.
They had a poor week this week, but I think overall, they still look like a solid team personally.
If you break it down, the teams that they've lost against, they're kind of all the same. They've all lost to Team Liquid.
Yeah, everybody's lost to Team Liquid.
Yeah.
So. But CLG and Fox, which are 2 of those teams in the middle they're competing with. But then also, they've beaten OpTic, Golden Guardians, and TSM, who are part of this next 4-way.
I was going to say, if like, if Scion starts getting banned away from Darshan from CLG, then maybe them. Because
We'll see.
I think that's part of their winnings is having Scion and just tanking.
Can I go first? I actually have real reasons for this one.
All right,
not just because I said so.
So as I said, like, FlyQuest wins against Golden Guardians, OpTic, TSM, who also joined with Clutch Gaming and this four-way at the bottom of the table, 2-4. We have a four-way tie for last. Who are you kicking out of the threesome?
Initially, I said I think we should kick out Clutch, but then I thought about it, and then OpTic is the actual choice. It's the only realistic one. Like I said it earlier, we're technically in week 3. They looked like they were week 1 this week, because technically they were. They had all of their intended roster on the Rift for the first time this split, and they didn't look great. And that's mostly because they're 2 weeks behind everyone else in terms of practice, like learning how to work with each other on the stage, everything else, and that's why they're the ones that are out.
Now, is this you making it in the moment decision here, or are you saying going forward even? Do you think that OpTic won't get it together, or that maybe they won't switch it back up into a team that maybe looks better?
If they keep the roster that they intended, that they played this weekend, I think that it's going to take them 2 more weeks to catch up. And then at that point, they're still 2 weeks behind. So,
but to be fair, all of these teams are tied for last. So do you think like they're going to drop into sole ownership of 10th? Is that what you're thinking? Or maybe not that far?
Well,
because no, if you're kicking somebody out of this threesome, what you're saying is they're going to be 10th.
No, I think that OpTic being 10th is very realistic right now.
Okay.
Like I said, they're 2 weeks behind. Like they're going to never be on the same level as any of the other 9 teams that are currently playing. Just because there's more experience and time and effort. Like, I mean, how long has Arrow actually been
to be fair,
in the
that's
country
under the
helping practicing with the team?
This year, like 2 weeks maybe, week and a half.
Yeah, so but every other team has had their
now
entire
you're saying this
roster.
though under that would work under the assumption that all these teams are equally good, that they're always going to be 2 weeks behind. Do you think OpTic is the same in whatever structure? And I will say another thing that OpTic has said they want to do the 10-man roster where all of their roster spots could be moved as possible. Let's be honest, Crown's not going anywhere. But do you think OpTic is just decidedly not necessarily better than any of those other 3 teams?
I think next week will be kind of the deciding factor. I mean, they're going against TSM and Cloud9. Best chance they've got a 50-50. But if they start shuffling rosters around, I feel like that's going to put them even farther behind.
Yeah.
Like
everything he said, ditto.
So you have OpTic at the bottom too.
Like it's not that they're a bad team or that they don't have the potential. It's what they're doing right now. Like the whole fact that the visa issues happened, that screwed them. Yeah. That may have screwed them to the point where they just can't recover.
So, are you kicking OpTic out too? They're your 10?
I mean, I like... If Clutch doesn't act like they have an extra chromosome for a teammate, then maybe they can pull it back. But
that makes me so happy. Thank you.
And I still like Clutch. So I want to keep them in the running. I like Lyra. I want to see a Lyra and Pole Belter smite off. That's my goal for this spring split.
Oh, man.
Of course, he'd have to be on Zoe, but still...
you could just be running spell.
And then Golden Guardians looked really good as a team, both games. And then I like TSM, Broken Blade, and Acadian, even though Acadian just let me down, like a big time. And Broken Blade, like he had options to pick Aatrox in I think both games almost, maybe, and then he didn't. And I really think that's a mistake because I think his Aatrox is very good. So for me, it's OpTic too. It's just they're behind, they've got the new people, they're not playing together as well. If they shuffle people, it's only going to make it worse, in my opinion.
To be fair to Broken Blade, not picking Aatrox in their first game, it was banned, and okay. 2, he did take Scion.
Okay, good.
In game 2, it was open against Golden Guardians, and he took Urgot.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
So, since you guys picked the same, though, I feel like I should play some devil's advocate here. To your point about them being behind, totally get that. Now, when you got into if they keep roster shuffling, I feel like a specific team did that last split, and they were in sole possession of 10th place in week 5, and somehow ended up 2nd. It's almost like roster shuffles aren't necessarily the devil.
But the difference being is that Cloud9 was good to begin with. OpTic's not.
OpTic, how did they do over the first 2 weeks?
Half and half.
Yeah, they went 2-2. Not terrible, right? They beat Clutch, they beat CLG, they lost to FlyQuest and Fox. I don't think OpTic is Cloud9. Now, don't get me wrong there. They aren't bringing in Sven Skaren. They're not bringing back in Sneaky. They're not bringing back in Jensen. Like, that shit's not happening. But they do have Dardoch and Meteos in the jungle. I think they're set there. I think Dokla's a huge issue. Yeah. And I totally agree on that.
Who's their other top?
It's so
I don't remember the other
weird.
top's name, but he looked okay in week 1.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't look good. I don't know. I feel like they need to upgrade that position, but I don't know how. Honestly, I think Gate is better than Big, and I would like to see Gate with Arrow. And if that doesn't work, then go back to Gate and Asta. Because they looked fine.
Yeah.
That bot lane looked better than the bot lane we saw this week. And the reason we saw Gate and Asta is because Big and Arrow were still playing together. Like, that whole squad was still playing together, so the whole idea was just like, oh, we're just swapping in Crown, basically. And Crowns looked great. So, like, the Devil's Advocate maybe says that, okay, they have the options here to make a pretty good team other than possibly top lane. And I'm looking at, like, Golden Guardians.
Didn't we just talk about how Dokla was doing so well, like last week or the week before?
Okay, the desk said he looked so good last week, and I disagreed. I thought he looked okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this week he did not
the
look that good.
last week, I felt like the desk was just, oh, Dokla looks so good. I was like, no, he looked all right. Like, the rest of the team enabled him to do even better, but he wasn't like fucking Someday where he was carrying the team. He wasn't doing, Bjergsen where he was trying to carry the team and failing
to.
to.
Inserted 2 gay jokes in there and not even noticed. He wasn't doing him. He wasn't fucking this guy. Doing him in the butt.
I didn't say butt.
Oh.
But no, like, seriously. So then, but if we look at those other teams, Golden Guardians, I think their roster shows more potential than OpTic's. Clutch, TSM, I absolutely think their roster shows more potential, but they just seem dysfunctional this week. Mm-hmm. Like,
You can't cancel the TPs. That's all it is. It's fucking all it is.
Well,
you can't cancel TPs.
I just don't know with them. I want Greg back.
To be a little fair there, like, that shit's got to be ingrained in their brain.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
Shit's fucking up. I'm gonna TP in. Oh shit, I can't stop.
To be fair, though,
I can't stop coming.
It's also been a while since they could cancel TP. And as a pro playing this game fucking 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, you probably have it fixed.
You're right.
You could still make that mistake every now and then. I mean, it's like we can all get into March and then we write the fucking previous year on, some document. Because it's like, I know it's 2019, but in March sometime, I'm going to write 2018 on some shit, and we all know it's going to happen. So, like, I get it. It still happens where your brain's like,
So who are your picks? You haven't even gone.
If I was to knock one out of this one, just because, like I said, I'm playing Devil's Advocate here, I think it would be Clutch.
Yeah.
Because despite Clutch getting those pickups, I still think they have weaknesses with Huni continuing to be NA Huni.
Huni has just gone.
Has Huni had a good game yet these 3 weeks?
I don't think so.
He's gotten bailed out a couple times. I don't feel like he's gone in and just won a lane. I don't think he has. So if you don't have Huni winning, you have Lyra being okay. DeMonte can't carry this fucking team. And I think DeMonte is still very good. I think Apollo and Hakuho have been quite good.
I'm pretty sure it was a Clutch game this week where I'm fairly certain
I'm talking about Clutch, but yes.
Yeah, no. Well, I am trying to remember if the play I'm thinking of was Clutch. I think it was.
Against 100 Thieves or
where Huni was in the top lane, he was doing his thing, and the mid laner got up by, like, the Krugs, and the jungler on the enemy team and the mid laner, they caught out DeMonte.
I don't remember. I feel like that's right.
And then, like, Huni was just still fucking off, like, after, like...
Huni's still playing.
getting his shit shoved in.
I feel like Huni is still playing for Huni, despite the fact
which
that...
is why I said Huni's on Huni Island right now.
And I feel like if you're going to make that team good, Huni should be playing for DeMonte.
Yeah. They made a joke, the casters.
Oh,
DeMonte weaving like Angelina Jolie in a bullet.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, you made a wanted joke.
He did the
Zoe.
That's hilarious. He ulted, and the Urgot tried to catch the Q, and it just skated past the side and fucking hit the target and just fucking did like 600, 800 damage. It was gross. Like, it didn't get the killing blow the Ezreal ult did, but, like, it did a chunk. Like, the person might have survived if the Zoe Q didn't hit. Damonte's still very good. I liked him a lot on Echo Fox. I still like him now. I started not liking Huni on Echo Fox, and I'm continuing that trend now. And that's why I say Clutch is down. Like, they started with a win over Fox and TSM, and they have lost to OpTic, Team Liquid, 100 Thieves, and Cloud9 since then. 100 Thieves been on, like, the bit of the rise recently. TL, Cloud9, you can't fault them that. But, like, OpTic's been middling kind of all season so far. Like, they have Clutch and Golden Guardian... I'm sorry, Clutch has CLG and FlyQuest coming up next week. If they don't at least split that, they're very possibly the worst team in the league past Golden Guardians.
No, agreed. Well, so they were, like, the ones where I was like, I wanna say that they're the ones that should be kicked out, but, like... I think that Huni, Lyra, and Damonte could carry that team if they could get their shit together.
If Huni can get hit, honestly, like it's Lyra, I expect to be okay.
You're right.
I think it's Huni.
No, you're absolutely right.
Huni's a liability rather than like a good thing at this point. Like
Lyra has stolen jungle barons and dragons in his games.
I'll tell you the list of players I'd rather have Huni than in the top lane. Dokla. Done. End of list. I'd rather have Broken Blade, obviously Licorice, and Someday in Impact. I'd rather have Darshan. And Darshan's not great anymore, but I'd rather have him right now. Huni, I would rather have Solo, who's looked pretty fucking decent this year. And I'd definitely rather have, blank his name. Viper, alright. I think Castro's been blowing a bit of hot air up his ass a little. Well, not so much Castro's as Reddit. Viper, I'd probably still rather have. And then Golden Guardians.
Hanser.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not a Hanser fan. I know you like him a lot. I'm not a Hanser fan. I'd rather have everybody but Dokla over Huni right now.
Do they have a backup? Will they play him? Will they play their...
I'd rather have the backup of OpTic over Huni.
No. The backup of CG. Yeah.
They have them? They have to. They have to have an Academy top laner. I have no idea who it is. It's some unknown. I'll look it up if you guys
At this point,
have
like, Clutch could just be like, go like this into the crowd and be like, you're our new top laner. You're probably better than Huni right now.
Unless it's me. Then they'd be wrong.
So, what was your pick out of the 100 Thieves, CLG, Fox, and Fly?
If I had to knock one down there, I would probably knock down CLG.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. I think CLG has a lot of potential.
Not if they get Sion.
But I think they as a team are closer to what Huni was last season, where they are very good sometimes, and other times they're completely disjointed. I have more faith in them than that phrase seems like now with the way Huni is currently. But I think 100 Thieves is on the rise up. I think with Bang and Someday, like, you have so much potential. Echo Fox is the other one that I think would be in that running for me. FlyQuest, I think they're actually a good team.
I do too.
I think with Pobelter in that mid lane now, I can actually count on them to be pretty decent. And so it comes down to CLG or Fox. And I feel like Fox, despite all odds of what their roster is, Phoenix has looked reliable. Not great, but reliable. Solo, the same there. Solo's actually had some really good plays in the top lane. Better than I would have expected out of him. And if he were to go downhill, they do have Lorlo in the background, like, just in case. I think Fox is okay. But it would be CLG or Fox I would put down. And then, but the other one, I feel like... I just wanted to jump in and play devil's advocate, so that way we had two things talked about, whereas you guys both went OpTic. So, but anyway, thank you for joining us. This has been episode 4 of Season 3 of League of Loggers, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Cheers.
I don't have anything. You're drinking it all.
You're drinking it all.